Hello friends, my name is Shanti Duggar. In this video, I will cover the concept of capital budgeting with particular reference to the discounted cash flow methods such as net present value, IRR, internal rate of return, and profitability index, which is PI. The other techniques of the capital budgeting, which is traditional methods such as payback periods and accounting rate of return, or we can also call it as average rate of return, has been covered in a different video. So first let's understand what is the capital budgeting. Capital budgeting is the process of planning, evaluating and allocating financial resources for any new capital investments in fixed assets or any new projects for future growth of the company's business. So whenever there is any new projects comes for investment, the role of finance department is to evaluate that project returns and suggest to the management whether the project is worth pursuing after analyzing it from the returns perspective and taking into consideration the risk, discounting rate, and comparing it with the threshold rate of return of the management. So the investment could be in mega projects such as greenfield project or any brownfield expansions, or it could be smaller projects such as debottlenecking of any capital and plant and machinery, or it could be buying of any new equipment, energy saving schemes, or cost reduction schemes. Wherever there is a capital investment which gives some return back in future years, those projects can be evaluated by using the techniques of capital budgeting. So as I said, there are traditional methods which are payback period method and average rate of return methods which have been covered in a different video by me. And in this video, I will be covering the time adjusted methods, or we can also call them as discounted cash flow method. And there are three of them. One is the net present value, which we call in short NPV method. The second one is the internal rate of return method, which we call in short as IRR method. And the third one is the profitability index, which we call in short as PI method. So let's first understand the net present value method. So net present value is basically the present value, or we can say discounted value of all future cash flow stream of the project. When I say cash flow stream, it means both cash outflow and cash inflow occurring each year for the life of the project. So when we discount those cash inflows and outflows using the weighted average cost of capital WACC, or it is also called as the required rate of return by the management to calculate the net present value, it gives us the total present net present value of those inflows and outflows of cash. So what we can say in other words, that NPV measures the excess or shortfall of cash flows from the project in present value terms, discounted at the cost of funds. It is, as I said, it is calculated by discounting the future cash flows, both negative cash flows as well as positive cash flows, by using the appropriate discounting rate. And that what is that appropriate discounting rate, I will explain in more detail in subsequent slides. So symbolically we can say NPV is the sum of present value of all future cash flows, and when we say the formula CFT, which is the future cash flow for the period T, and that is divided by a factor of 1 plus R raised to power T. So that's called the discounting of the future cash flow. So and here CFT is the cash flow of the year T, and R is the discounting rate of interest at which the management has to require the minimum rate of return or expected rate of return on the investment. So let's understand how the NPV method is used in project evaluation and why it is important for the decision making. So we can say if NPV is positive, that means the project is generating higher than the WACC returns, therefore it should be accepted. A negative NPV means the project is not generating the adequate return up to the weighted average cost of capital. So the actual return of the project is lower than WACC, hence the project should not be accepted, all other things being equal. So in theoretical situation, let's say if there is no limitation of capital, or if the capital is abundantly available without any limit, then the management or the company should pursue all investments which has a positive NPV. However, this is not practical, and in practical life, company always have some capital constraints, and they optimize the projects in terms of capital investments, and whichever project gives them the highest NPV in terms of ranking, the company chooses those projects up to the limit of their capital constraints. So if there are two or more competing investment proposals, the project which gives the higher NPV out of the two will get the preference over the project which generates lower NPV. And similarly, by the same logic, if there are two negative NPV proposals and the company has to choose either one of them, if there is no other choice, then the one which has the lower negative NPV will be the preference over the one which has the higher negative NPV. So this is very central tool for the project evaluation, and this is widely used in economics, finance, and accounting, and in the corporate sector. So let's understand this with a simple example. Here, if you are investing, let's say in a project, $500 million at the year zero, that means at the beginning of the period, and if the project is generating a cash flow of stream of this from year 1 to year 10, and if the project life is, let's say, 10 years, so the salvage value at the end of year is, let's say, $200 million. So the total cash flow for each year will be, the year zero will be 500, that is at the beginning of the year, minus negative 500. The first year will be positive 50, then second year will be positive 80, like that. So the last year, year 10, will be 340, which is 140 of the regular cash flow plus 200 of the salvage value. So 340 will be the total cash flow for that year. And if the management required rate of return is, let's say, 10% on that investment, now whether we should pursue this project or not, we can evaluate by using the DCF method or net present value method. So if we can use the Excel tool also, which will simply calculate it with some formula, which I can explain in a different video, how to use Excel tool for calculating NPV. So the present value of that NPV of future cash flow will come to 727, and if you minus 500 of initial investment, the net present value comes to 227. So this we can also calculate manually by using the formula for PVDF, present value discounting factor. And the formula is 1 divided by 1 plus R raised to power T for calculating the PVDF. So if required rate of return is 10%, so the first year cash flow will be discounted by using this formula, 1 divided by 1 plus R raised to power T. The PVDF factor will be 0.9091. Second year will be 0.8264. So like that we get the present value of each years, and that present value we multiply by the respective year's cash flow. So this 500 is divided multiplied by 1, because this is already in the present value form, and the second year's cash flow is multiplied by the 0.9091. Third year's cash flow is multiplied by 0.8264. So like that we get the present value of all years cash flow, and then when we take the sum of all the present values from year 0 to year 10, we get the net present value of 227.18. Now let's understand how do we calculate the discounting rate of return for calculating the NPV. Normally the management or companies use their weighted average cost of capital as a discounting rate, because it has a significant impact on the required rate, and higher the discounting rate, lower will be the present value of future cash flows. And how the WACC is calculated? This is very simple. WACC is basically the cost of debt times percentage of debt in capital structure. So this is the cost component of the debt in the overall debt capital structure, plus cost of equity times percentage of equity in capital structure. So this is the component of equity in the overall capital structure. So when we add both together, we get the total WACC. And here cost of debt we always take as post tax. So whatever is the pre-tax cost of debt, we have to multiply by 1 minus tax rate to calculate the post-tax cost of debt. Another alternative methods some companies use to discount their future cash flows is the opportunity cost of capital instead of taking the actual cost of capital. What is opportunity cost of capital? Is the rate at which the funds invested in the project will yield the return if it would have been invested in an alternative venture. So instead of investing in this project, if the company would have invested the same funds or equivalent funds in another venture, how much that would have earned the return? That is called as opportunity cost of capital. It may be also called as reinvestment rate. Now let's understand the next method, IRR method. IRR is basically the discounting rate at which the net present value of an investment becomes zero. So in a way we can say that IRR is the implied rate of return on the project, or in other words we can say IRR is the rate of return generated by the project at which sum of all the present values of cash flow, negative cash flows, becomes equal to the sum of present value of all positive cash flows. So this we have to calculate through trial and error iterative process and interpolation method. Why trial and error method we have to use? Because this is the rate at which the NPV becomes zero. So we have to keep calculating the NPV of the project using different discounting rate, and whatever is the rate at which the NPV comes to zero, that is the actual IRR of the project, or we can say this is the implied rate of return earned by the project over the life of the period. So how it is useful in financial decision making or project evaluation technique? If the IRR is higher than WACC, then the project will generate positive NPV, or we can say other way around. If project is having a positive NPV, that means the IRR of the project will be higher than WACC. On the other hand, if IRR is lower than the WACC, then the project will have negative NPV. In other words, we can say the projects which are generating negative NPV, their IRR will be always lower than the WACC or lower than the required rate of return by the management. So those projects should be rejected, not be pursued. And whichever projects have a IRR higher than the WACC, those projects can be accepted or gone ahead with. Obviously, the higher the IRR of a project, the more attractive the project is considered to be over others. Let's understand this with an example. Again, taking the same example, $500 million investment at the beginning of the project period, which is generating this type of cash flows. So this cumulative cash flows which we got here each year wise. This is not cumulative, this is year wise cash flow. So IRR using Excel tool, we get 17.54%. Now, if we use the IRR, calculate the IRR manually, we have to first guess or estimate the expected rate of return, what it would be generating. So let's say we guess that this project may be generating around 17%. So at 17%, when we calculate the PVDF using the formula 1 divided by 1 plus R raised to power 2 t, we get these are the PVDF factor for each years. This PVDF we multiply by the respective cash flow of that year. So we get the present value of each year's cash flow. And when we take the sum of all the 10 years cash flows present value, we get a positive NPV of 12.6. So up to here, the project is still generating positive NPV. So that means we have to increase the discounting rate to have it zero. So let's re-estimate assuming 18% discounting rate. So when we do the same thing at 18% PVDF, then we get the value of minus 10.3. So we can say at 17% it was positive 12.6, and 18% at 18% it is negative 10.3. So that means the IRR of the project is between 17 and 18% somewhere. So what is that somewhere point? We have to calculate using the interpolation method. So we know the gap between 17% and 18% is 1% for the discounting rate, and the NPV at 17% is 12.6 here, and at 18% is minus 10.3. So the gap for 1% discounting rate difference is about $22.9 million. So we can easily calculate the actual value at which it will become zero. So taking 17% as the base, we say 17% plus the value at 17% was 12.6, and we have to bring it to zero level. So 12.6 minus 0, and that we divide by the difference between the 17% and 18% results, which is 22.9 here. So we get 17.55%. Alternatively, we can also calculate by taking the 18% as a base and subtracting from 18% by interpolation method. So at 18% base, if we take, the value will be 18% minus 18% value was, the result was 10.3. So start with minus 10.3 and we have to reach up to 0. So minus 10.3 minus 0, and that we divide by the total difference between the net present values of 17% and 18%, which is 22.9. So we get the same result here, 17.55%. Now let's understand the profitability index. So up to here we have seen the NPV in absolute terms. So it does not correlate or relates itself to the amount of investment in the project. So when there is a capital rationing or limitation of the capital, that time we have to see that how much is the NPV per dollar of investment. So that is we can calculate by using the method profitability index, which is basically the ratio of return to the investment of a project, and it calculates the return amount of value created per unit of investment. So this is very useful under capital rationing proposal when you have to compare two competing projects and which one to select. So it is calculated very simple formula. Profitability index equals to present value of future cash flows divided by initial investment. So when we say present value of future cash flows, we do not consider the initial investment. Or alternatively, we can also calculate by this formula PI equals to 1 plus. Here we calculate the NPV in the numerator. So NPV means it calculates both the initial investment as well as the future cash inflows, and present value of that net present value divided by the initial investment. So if PI is higher than 1 or lower than 1 or equal to 1. So if it is equal to 1, that means the project is generating the amount just equal to the initial investment, or we can say it is the break even in terms of present value. If PI value is lower than 1, that means the project's present value is less than initial investment, so the NPV will be negative. So project should not be pursued. If the PI value is higher than 1, so that means the project is generating a positive NPV, or the present value of the future cash flows is higher than the initial investment, so the project may be pursued. PI is very similar to return of investment method, except that here in profitability index, the net profit is discounted. So let's understand with an example here. In the previous example, we had the NPV of 227.18 and the initial investment was 500. So the PI will be 1 plus NPV divided by the initial investment. So it will come to 1.48. I have created many more videos on topics of financial management and statistical concepts. So if you would like to understand those concepts, you may refer to my channel. And if you like this video, you can share with your friends. And for any other explanations or more interactive sessions to understand one-on basis or group sessions, you may contact me directly at dugat.shanti68 at gmail.com. Thank you.